We all knew this current iteration of Dungeons and Dragons was completely a joke. It has become a woke train wreck bastardization of the great game. And now one of the founders, Robert Kuntz, blasts Wizards of the Coast as disgusting slime for attacking the original creators. This is a big story right after the Mexican orcs. It can't get worse for Wizards of the Coast. All right, my name's John Delarose, everybody. I am a author myself who's been inspired by the old Appendix N from the Dungeons & Dragons era. And I've got some great books online on Amazon. I'd love you to start with The Stars Entwined. It is a space opera trilogy about a spy who gets embedded with an alien race and ends up falling in love with an alien starship captain, and his loyalties get tested. There's a 3-book trilogy, and we're about to spin out a space exploration series in the vein of Star Trek out of this, so I would love for you to get in on the series now while I'm writing these wonderful books. This link's in the description below. Thank you guys for checking out the fiction and supporting our channel. You guys are the best. It's been an amazing couple of months, and we just hit 26,000 subscribers, so please hit the like and subscribe. Join us here, and appreciate you, as I said before. So Robert Kuntz, one of the founders of Dungeons & Dragons, blasted Wizards of the Coast for attacking him and his fellow creators in a preface to the recently released books Dungeons & Dragons, the making of the original D&D 70 to 77. In the preface, written by Jason Tondreau, senior designer with Dungeons & Dragons, and shared to X by user DLSD25, Tondreau attacks the original creators, writing, "Some language in the first iteration of D&D presents a moral quandary." Here's the wokeism. "The document reproduced in this book include many pages of charts and tables alongside the lists of monsters, spells, and magic items, but that game content also includes a virtual catalog of insensitive and derogatory language." Oh my God, these people are so insane. "Words that are casually hurtful to anyone with a physical or mental disability who happens to be old, fat, non-conventionally attractive, indigenous, black, or a woman." Oh, geez. So this fantasy adventure game didn't use their woke terminology properly. Please clap for this very sensitive feminist person, Tondreau. He continued, "Some people have charitably ascribed this language to authors working from bad assumptions. In the 1970s, historical wargamers in America were predominantly white, middle class men." Oh, the worst part of all of it. Gosh, these people, they hate their own fan bases. I mean, by the way, Dungeons & Dragons gamers are still predominantly white middle-class men, as much as they like to pretend otherwise, and as much as you'll go on Critical Role in one of those channels, and it's this casually diverse group that was completely picked by a production group that's paying big money to put that imagery in front of you. That's not what it usually looks at, like in most tables. It's ridiculous to think otherwise. But these people just hate themselves. They hate people who play these games. I mean, one of the D&D designers went on a podcast like last year, like just saying that he wanted less white people in gaming. Like, I mean, he even knew that this statement's a lie by saying he would like it to be something else. It's so weird, such a self-flagellation. And I got to remind everybody here who's in the audience, it's okay to be white. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let these people gaslight you. It's crazy. "It isn't surprising that they would dub a class of soldiers the fighting man." Oh gosh, how terrible. I just want to faint from the microaggression there. "But when in the pages of Greyhawk the description of Queen the Chaotic Dragons includes a dig at women's lib, the misogyny is also revealed as a conscious choice. It's an unfortunate fact that women seldom appear in the original D&D, and when they do, they're usually portrayed disrespectfully." Oh, so sad. Keep women off the table, my friends. Not even once. Not even once. So what a terrible book. He continues, "Slavery appears in the original D&D not as a human tragedy that devastated generations over centuries, but as a simple commercial transaction. The cultural appropriation of original D&D ranges from bewildering, like naming every 6th level cleric a llama, to staggering. Gods, demigods, and heroes not reprinted in this book includes game statistics for sacred figures revered by more than 1 billion people around the world. Were players expected to fight Vishnu, one of the principal deities of Hinduism, kill him and loot his +3 sword of demon slaying? Oh, so painful. So painful. He concluded, despite these shortcomings, D&D has always been a game about people choosing to be someone unlike themselves and collaborating with strangers who have become friends. I find this really interesting. He says, D&D has always been about a game about people choosing to be someone unlike themselves. But more and more, like, the game is trying to force it into people being more and more like the woke SJW weirdos out there. And the heroes have to look like me more and more and more. So it's quite the opposite these days of what it is when you were pretending to be an adventurer, a barbarian, something fantastical. Now you're just supposed to pretend to be yourself wearing cosplay clothes, right? And that's a lot less fun. It makes everything more boring. It's made the games insufferable when you have to deal with these people and see these people play. And it's ruined a lot of great role-playing games. It really has. The interesting point that he made right here is slowly become more inclusive as the player base has become more diverse. The pool of creators who make the game has expanded to include people with a broader range of identities and backgrounds. As these new creators make the game more welcoming, the game has attracted new fans, in turn, continue to make the game more inclusive. The future of Dungeons & Dragons, here at its 50th anniversary, is bright. Well, as you'll start to see, this inclusive and diverse crap just turns people off from gaming. And you'll see that the sales of Dungeons & Dragons now are a fraction of what it was 20, 30 years ago, much like every other woke property that's cannibalized its base and then just destroyed its corpse over and over and over again. They've made it a less interesting game. They've made it a little ridiculousness where your character can't even die at this point because they're so triggered because people identify with their characters so hard. It's become the worst of the worst dregs of society playing this stuff at this point, and everybody else has been not welcome from the table. Normal people are cast out, and you'll get banned from these conventions if you're a normal person these days, if they know who you are. It's very sad. So this is wild that they would attack Dungeons & Dragons creators like this. But this is going to be the response that that Kuntz talks about here. He describes the current management of Wizards of the Coast as the real racists, and they are. SJWs are always racist. When they complain about all this stuff, it's always projection, and you can see it in the fact that they originally thought orcs were black people when they're a fantasy race. Now they're painting orcs as Mexicans. It's like they can't think of any. They have no creativity, so they just like make it into characterizations of the real world here, right? And he then shares a quote of Wizards of the Coast executive producer Kyle Brink. And Kyle Brink's producer says there's been mistakes made in recent years past where people assumed Dungeons & Dragons players were all, white dudes in a basement, which has been faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. So in my viewpoint, honestly, guys like me, which means white people, not soy boy cucks, unfortunately, can't leave this hobby soon enough. Oh, wow. So there it is, the real racists in this hobby, and in their own words, also a reminder that it was white dudes with the help of white women that created this hobby for everyone to share in, no matter their race, color, or creed. Remember that as Wizards of the Coast and their ace ilk slay the EGG. And that's exactly what's happening right here. So this is indicative of everything that's going on at Wizards of the Coast. If you look at their Magic the Gathering content, it's crazy. They're replacing Lord of the Rings characters with black people like everything else. They're making the content they're woke. They're replacing different cards with stupid things that just adhere to the woke content. They did one about bears the other day, and then they made it a bunch of naked men in a forest to try to appease the LGBTQ community. This company's completely lost the plot, and they really don't know how to make fun, compelling games. And so they're going to do the same thing all these companies do: call the fans racist over and over and over again, call you bigots, and then wonder why you're not playing the game, much like anybody else is not watching Disney, etc. It's sad that they want to turn the audiences away, but they have, and you shouldn't give money to people who hate you. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out The Stars Entwined and its sequels on Amazon. I appreciate you for being there. We'll be back soon.